Shall we begin?
Why not? Welcome to FrankieSense More. It's like she's got a whole lot of goodness for you with a little bit of sass.
Frankie, did you just say?
She sure did. Not to mention, along with...
Whoops.
Join us now as Frankie mix it up with authors, musicians, and interviews with world-changing people.
Let's begin.
Okay, let's begin now, because it only makes sense.
Welcome to FrankieSense More, where we don't just talk about life, we talk about what's behind it, beyond it, and sometimes what comes after it. Today's conversation is one that sits right at the edge of belief, experience, and something that many of us quietly wonder about, but don't always say out loud. So what happens when life ends? And more importantly, does our connection ever really end at all? My guest today is a woman who has spent more than 3 decades living in that space between worlds. Taz Singh is an internationally respected medium, motivational speaker, and life coach whose work has brought comfort, clarity, and in many cases, profound closure to people navigating grief, loss, and uncertainty. And from radio to TV and across continents, she has guided thousands through some of life's most difficult moments, connecting them, she says, not just to answers, but to something deeper. And perhaps more powerfully, her work extends into places that many would never go, including working with offenders in correctional facilities, helping create pathways to healing between victims' families and those responsible. So today, we're not just talking about the spirit world. We're talking about healing, accountability, and what it really means to find peace. And joining us for this conversation is someone who knows this work not just professionally, but personally. Mayuri Naidu is a South African actor, my co-founding partner in G-Woman Media, and a longtime client of Taz's. So their connection has evolved into something even more powerful, and I'm excited to share that the two of them are now stepping into a new chapter together. They're going to co-create a show that will explore these conversations even more deeply, bringing insight, experience, and a global perspective to audiences ready to look beyond the surface. And later in the show, we're going to open up the lines to a few very special callers. So now I want to say this up front. This isn't about proving anything, and it's not about performance. It's about connection. So if you do call, come with an open heart, a willingness to receive whatever comes through, and even if it's not what you expected. And this is where we begin. So with questions and curiosity, and for some, maybe even a little skepticism, Taz, Mayuri, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was an amazing welcome.
Yes,
So,
Well, thank you for that. I really do appreciate. Taz, was there ever a moment that you wished this gift would go away? Or you've had this ability since you were a child, I believe. So when did you realize it wasn't just intuition and it was something more?
so my first recollection of seeing, ancestors or seeing people that are on the other side was at the age of 5. I remember seeing dead people and thinking that was normal. I thought everybody could do that until my parents were explaining, what it is I'm going through. So I did shy away from it for a little while. But when you have a gift, you can never close it, right? It is always there. It always feels like something is missing until you embrace it. But I've never had a moment where I thought, I wish I never had this gift. To me, it is genuinely a gift to help others.
So how did your parents know? Like, is this something that happened in your family line? Did other people in your family have this gift? Like, how did they know what you were going through and wasn't just your imagination?
So my grandmother was a healer. My dad's mom was a healer,
Okay.
and a very powerful healer. And I obviously got the gift from her. Strangely, nobody else got the gift, not her children, not her other grandchildren. So I feel very honored and blessed to have received that from her. Now she is late and she has become my guide as well.
Oh, I love hearing that. Wow. Because many
In
times
fact,
children, they say
I
that
must
children are
say
still
that.
open. I'm sorry?
Yes, I must say this. I had to attend a family function and I met my dad's sister. And she said to me that still nobody has this gift. Why is it only you? And I said, I don't know. So I think the family also felt that maybe somewhere along the line it would pass on to their children or somewhere that, it would manifest. So I truly feel very humbled and honored and respectful towards the gift that I received.
Yeah, I know that they often say that kids have the gift. A lot of children have that gift until they're maybe 3 or 4, and then it kind of dissipates. that they do see the spirit
100%.
world?
100%. So children that are very young, I would say from 5 below, are intuitive. They see things. We assume that it's imaginary friends, but they're actually seeing, souls from the other side. But once maturity kicks in, the energy starts to shift. But I want to also say this, that every single human being has a spiritual gift, has the intuition and sixth sense to know things. But often we let fear, we let anxiety, we let overthinking kick in, and we block out the information. I'm sure so many people listening today have had moments where a voice inside says, do this, or don't accept that offer, or there's just a message that comes through and they do the opposite, and then they realize, I knew I should have. So
Yeah.
sometimes it is important that we just slow down and we listen to that inner voice. And if you are still not sure, pray about it and you will be guided. I don't do anything that's different. As I said, everybody has this inner compass. Maybe seeing dead people is a bit crazy and different, but being able to hear messages, or to be guided and to be able to listen and steer your life in that direction is everybody's gift. And you do
I
not
know that I've
need.
talked to many people who have seen dead people, and they see them in different ways. So they see it as a mist, a spirit, not exactly like a physical body. Like I'm looking at you. How do you see them?
So with me, they come through in physical form. Sometimes it's just a message that's coming through, so I'm getting the message. But I also want to say that it does not mean you have to see dead people to feel you have a gift, right?
Right.
You could pray to God and receive your messages. You could pray to universe and receive your messages. It does not matter who you pray to and what you believe in, as long as there's something that grounds you. Right.
Right.
I have many clients that come to me that does not believe in ancestors, that does not want a crossing over, and that is okay, because I am still able to help you and give you messages that is going to enhance your journey in terms of career or relationship, and sometimes in health as well, because I do have clients that come to me with health complications, and they just need some kind of clarity in which way they journey is going. So it does not have to be a crossing over. Right. And again, it's
Okay.
not my job to change people's belief system.
Right.
Right. What you believe might be different from me, but we both might be grounded in our prayer. And that is the most important thing.
Have you ever had a message that just went beyond your explanation? Like you just go, I just can't even believe this is happening, or that this
Often,
came through, or
often, you
often.
know, uh, very often. Like today, for example, I have a client that's been with me for over a decade, and I'm sure she's listening because she said she was going to connect. And there were messages coming through for one of her family members that was very disturbing. But I have to give the message, because it is important to relay that message. There's a reason that message is coming through.
Right.
So, yes, sometimes some messages are a little bit overwhelming. I recently lost my aunt, and I had picked up that she had a health issue that was never going to be cured. And she was in denial. Firstly, she didn't want to listen when I told her. And when she finally accepted the news and then went to the doctor, she found out she was on stage 4 cancer. All right. So, yes, the gift can be a little overwhelming when it is people that you love and you have to relay these kind of messages.
Just before we got on, we talked a little bit about fate and about, when you come, this is the journey that you're going to be on, and it cannot deflect from that. But you giving her that message could have stopped her possibly from passing on. If she'd gone to the doctor in
100%.
time and done what, you were telling her, she didn't have to go down that other road. Right?
100%. I believe that nobody's journey is cast in stone. God gives us free will and power. He has not put us here as puppets. So, having information that can change the trajectory of your life is important, but it is what you do with it. When I gave her that information, and had she acted timelessly, she would have beat her breast cancer. She waited, she was in fear, she was in denial, and she left it for almost a year. By
Wow.
the time she actually went to get herself treated, she was on stage 4 cancer. And breast cancer is one of the cancers that is treatable if picked up early. So
Right.
to all my clients, those that are listening now, or those that have, that come to me on a regular basis, they know that I'm not a person that enforces my reading. I always treat people with love and respect, right, with kindness. And I relay the message, but it is up to them. They still have the power to make the choice. right?
So do you
And
consider yourself a medical intuitive in the respect that you would, go through somebody's body and go, they've got this, or is it more you just hear what
so
spirit's
I'm
telling you?
also a Reiki master, right? So
Mhm.
working on an individual, from a healing perspective and being able to pick up energy, you're able to also see what is transpiring around the body before it has actually come onto the physical form. So there's definitely that advice that I would give and encourage them to go to a medical professional.
Right.
And that is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that coaching is very important to you. And it goes hand in hand with what you're doing as a medium, right? So how do you have the two working together? How do you see
So
it?
I love that element because I do the reading and I see where the gray areas are. And it is easier then for me to coach you and mentor you into being the success you're meant to be because we know where the shortcomings are. It's not like you're going to somebody that's trying to sift out and understand from multiple conversations. In one session, we sit down, we say, okay, these are the positives, these are the gray areas, and this is how we remedy and fix. And that's how we are able to move forward quite quickly.
Right, right. So Mayuri, I know that you've been a long
Mayuri's
time
been, and I want to
client
pull
and
Mayuri
friend.
into this. I want to pull Mayuri into this conversation.
I was just
Um,
doing it. Come on, we were on the same wavelength
yes,
there.
yes, exactly. Mayuri's been a client of mine for a while now, and she's such a beautiful soul. Mayuri is a person that's always very open and very receptive, but very, very psychic and intuitive herself. So not only is she a friend, she was a client, now she's not only a friend, but we want to start a business together. And I couldn't
Yeah,
think of
that's
anyone
awesome.
better than Mayuri because we share so much
You
in,
share a
in
lot.
common.
Thank
Yes.
you. That's so sweet. I don't know what to say. I feel the same way about you. It was like an instant connection. So when you said this was just a natural progression to help. I also want to heal. I don't have this gift, but I can heal through other ways. And to be able to connect with you and do that and be a small part of someone's journey, that's an incredible honor.
I think you
You are
are
a big
very
part.
intuitive, Mayuri.
Very.
I think you are, and I think you'll make a good coach too. People, you have a countenance that people, it's open. People, are drawn to you. You have a really great way with words. I can see you being very effective.
But the most important thing is you have empathy, right?
Hmm.
You can have all of those things, but if you lack empathy and you're unable to connect with people, there will never be that element of people feeling comfortable or opening up with you.
That's right.
You can be a coach and you can be anything in life, but if you do not ground yourself and you do not have empathy and respect for people, you will never make a difference. And I think the mistake a lot of people make is that they let ego take over. No
Yeah.
matter how successful you are, you have to remain humble and you have to remain human, right? And I think that's what I love about you being a star, right? You don't, conduct yourself in that manner, right? You're always very, very simple, humble, and very people orientated. And for me, that is very critical in the work that I do and sharing that platform with somebody that I want to now make a difference out there.
Thank you. I
I
feel
have a
like
feeling
us.
though that Mayuri is gets attacked psychically from a lot of energies that you maybe aren't protecting yourself from. Because a lot of times I think there's a lot of stuff that you pick up that isn't yours. So how do
But
you do it, Taz?
Frankie, a lot of people, I mean, I think on a daily basis we go through that, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what a good person you are, but when you step out into the world, you are interacting with different types of people.
Yep.
Sometimes people are smiling on your face, and within themselves, there's elements of jealousy or just heaviness and darkness, right? So we are constantly being affected by that. But when we come home, your home needs to be your sanctuary, right? Your home needs to be your safe place, whether you light your candle or your incense or whatever it is. When you do that act of lighting, you are setting an intention that this is my moment of stillness, this is my moment of prayer, this is my moment of connection, right? So it doesn't matter whatever you do. You may just find that, listening to music is your meditation, or playing
Right.
a music instrument, or going for a walk. Whatever it is you do to calm yourself down and to center yourself is very important to do on a daily basis, because that allows you to again tune into your own energy and remove all of the heaviness. Because on a daily basis, we are absorbing. Even the strongest healers are absorbing negativity from others.
Right. Yeah. So what kind of protection is that your protective practice? Do you do those things, or is there something extra special that you do that you're not bringing in negative energies into your home or negative
So
being attached?
my home is my sanctuary. I don't allow anyone in my home. I have an office, and this is where my clients arrive. My home is very, very, very closed. So it's very small group of people that come to. I know I'm crazy, all right?
No, that makes
But
perfect
for
sense.
me,
No.
that is my place where I need to feel safe. So it is not open to just everybody. Yes, my office is open. Outside my home, I have a beautiful Buddha that its hands are open, and I keep salt in it because salt absorbs negativity.
Negative energy.
Right. So even I could be walking into my home with negative energy.
Right. That's what I
I
meant.
am
It
engaging
can
with
attach
people.
itself to you.
Exactly. It attaches, and you are walking in and you're carrying this heaviness. So I am now bringing that energy at home. So I have my Buddha at my front door. It doesn't have to be a Buddha. It can be whatever people want to put at the entrance to say, this is my energy form of healing, right? And I believe in meditation. For me, my walking is my meditation. My music is my meditation. That's my meditation. Everybody else might find other forms to just center themselves, as I said. It is so important to take even if it's 5 minutes in the evening, to do that, because you release. You are able to
Right.
go to bed with that light energy and start your day with positivity. All right. How
Yeah.
often we go to bed and we are frustrated, we are feeling heavy, we get up the next morning and we are exhausted.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm sure you experience that as well in your line of work.
I'm actually I'm very particular about who I let into my home as well. I don't like people just showing up, and I don't like it if I've never invited you. So that space for me is, and I do the same thing. I have a little ritual that whatever it is, I'm so much more aware of it now, because even on set or whatever, you're interacting with people, and you don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. You don't know what bad juju they might be doing. So you need to really protect yourself. And I didn't actually, what you said about feeling that energy, I didn't really even think about it until recently, where I was like, why am I always feeling like this when I go in a particular space and I come back? And I thought, well, maybe it's just the interaction we're having is not so great.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to figure out something for me. Someone said once, water is very cleansing. So even if you're drinking water or washing your hands, just have a little conversation and be like, please protect me as I go into this. Those are important.
Yeah.
You need to find the ritual that works for you.
Absolutely. It's about finding the ritual that works for you, because water is very healing, salt is healing. And to other people, they may feel that doesn't work for me, but
And
they will like the crystals. I love crystals, and I have a lot of crystals. So whatever works for you and whatever helps you cleanse and balance yourself, use that. And I like that you said that you didn't realize until you paid attention. It's about paying attention.
Yeah. You're checking in with yourself. We have a caller. Are you girls ready to have a caller?
Yes.
Let's see. All right. Hello there, Pauline. Welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you guys and girls?
Good. Can you tell us where you're calling from?
What was that?
Can you tell us where you are calling from?
I'm coming from Las Vegas, Nevada, USA.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. We're here with Taz and Mayuri. Did you have a question for Taz?
Yes. How will I know I'm on the right path in my life? What are the signs?
So, firstly, I want to say welcome, Dr. Pauline Crawford. You have such amazing energy, right? And I see that you have been through life. You have gone through your challenges. You have gone through your difficulties. But what I admire is you have never given up, right? And you have remained that vessel of positivity for others. I see that you don't realize the impact that you make in people's lives. It's only in the last few years that you realize that this is a gift and I want to use it going forward. For you, it was a natural, normal thing, right? You did it, freely, until you realize, but wow, I am making a difference. This is something powerful and I want to harness it differently. So I want you to know that your energy and your calling and your purpose is to be a healer, but your healing is through your words and the way you connect with people. All right. And I am seeing that you are embarking on a journey where you are going to stand up and engage with people on platforms. I am seeing the element of workshops and training. And I see that you're very big on women empowerment, right? You want to make sure that women are heard and women are feeling loved and safe. I see that you have from a very young age been very independent. All right. I don't know if you believe in a crossing over, but I have to do a crossing over. I've got a male that stands behind you and he puts his arms around you and he says, I love you. All
Aw.
right. And he says, I
Yes,
never got a chance to say goodbye. He
I
says, I
love
never got a
that.
chance. He says, I never got a chance to say thank you because he says, you were more important in my life than you realize. He says, you gave me grounding and you gave me life. And he says that I love you. All right. And your grandma comes through and she says to you that I'm very proud of you. She says, you are like a boy. She says, you get things done. You've never said, I can't. You have always found a solution. And she says that your life is only beginning. So if you think I'm tired, you still have a long life ahead of
Wow.
you. Getting a lot of
I
quality.
do. That's so spot on. It resonates with me totally.
Do you know who
Uh,
that male is?
yes, I think it's my ex-husband, Gordon, I would
It
say.
is, but he does not like the word X.
Oh,
He
well,
says, I
he was
know.
he was always my friend, even when we weren't together. And so I know that he said to me that I was his luck in the world. And so I know that, yes.
But he wants to say this to you, Pauline. He says, I deserve the word X. He says, you didn't deserve that word X. He says
Yes.
that,
Aw.
he says,
And
you
he
gave,
passed away too young. He was only 68, so it was too young.
but he passed away suddenly as well. And he showed me he had difficulty breathing. He said he was in a lot of discomfort. He
Yes.
says to you that you gave effortlessly, and he says that you wanted to make me a better person. He says I was too troubled. He
Oh,
says when
yes.
you met me, I was a lost and a very troubled soul. He says you made me proud of myself, but I acknowledged all of that too late. He says by the time I realized the value of life and the value of me, he said my time was up. All right.
Absolutely. That's
He says
beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. I really appreciate what you say.
he says to you that you have a lot to share in the world, and I am seeing you writing, so I am seeing publication, right? So that
Yes.
is coming in quite important. And what I love is that you do things because you want to make a difference. It's not about money, it's not about status, it's not about any of those things. You have made money and you have lost money. You have been in
Yes.
the highs of life and you have been in the lows of life, and you have realized that all I want is to be human and I want to make an impact. So, Dr. Pauline Crawford, you have such an amazing and beautiful energy, and the gift that you're bringing to the world is going to
Thank you.
definitely make a difference. And your energy is not just in Vegas. I am seeing you traveling and using your energy
Yes.
to make a difference.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
must say
I
this.
embrace the world in
But
every
I,
day.
but I must say this, you need to be very cautious in terms of partnerships. I am seeing that your status and your energy is on a level that other people are going to want to abuse and manipulate. Right. And I think you have lost a lot of people along the way when you have learned how to be assertive. Right. Because you were too generous and always making excuses for people. Now you are learning how to set boundaries and not feeling guilty about it. And we shouldn't. Right. So partnerships are not the best for you, but collaborations would definitely work.
Okay. I honor that. That will be something I'll meditate on today. I appreciate
I
that.
love your energy.
Thank you.
You look
Your,
beautiful,
I love
Pauline.
yours too.
your husband wants to say thank you for this opportunity. He's very emotional when he speaks to you now. He says, I want to thank you for this opportunity. He says that I never got to say all of this. And he says, this
Aw.
gives me closure. He's giving love to a young boy, to a son. He says that all I want right now is to be able to guide all of you and to be that value that I was not when I was alive. He says, I'm truly sorry. And he says, thank you for forgiving me because you have.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And he sent me a picture recently through Google Memories. It suddenly came out the blue of him when he was 27. And
I was about to say he sent a photo of him looking good. He says, I was a little overweight, but I was
yeah,
looking good.
it was it was just amazing, yeah, I will talk to him today. In my
He says, I am always there.
he's in my angel galaxy.
But before you
Boy.
go, your dad comes through. All right. And
Oh,
he also wants to connect with you, and he says, I love you. He says, I know I was not always the man I could have been. All right. And he says, you are strong because from a young age you had to be independent. There was nobody to lean on. And he says, I want to use this opportunity today to also apologize. He says that you have carried my name and you have made me proud even when I didn't deserve it. And he says, I truly, truly am sorry. And he says, I love you, my child.
oh,
Oh,
that's beautiful. Yes, my dad taught me lots of things, but he always said, take responsibility for your life and be kind to people.
Yes.
He was a
And he says,
wonderful man,
and he
wonderful man.
says, you've always been very, very, very headstrong and very independent. And he says, now it's time for you to enjoy life.
Yes,
And I think that's the whole point is you have made such difference, in so many lives, but you never got to enjoy the journey yourself. All right. And now's your time to still do good, do the work that you are meant to do, but enjoy the process.
yes. I love that. That's such wisdom. Thank you.
it's
I
It's
a
will.
great
absolutely,
reading. That's amazing. Your husband,
I
your
wish you all the
dad,
best.
all these
Thank
wonderful
you.
people,
Thank you.
Thank
all the
you.
work that you're going to be doing. That's exciting.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. There's a wonderful moment today in my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline. Thanks for calling. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. That's that's really wonderful. Wow.
That was beautiful. I got goosebumps.
But that's
Yeah.
what the reading is all about. It's about
Yeah.
bringing closure and
Yeah.
giving you information that you can take forward and build the life that you are meant
You
to
could
have.
see like her face just
Oh,
transform as you were saying this, and she was
yeah.
reaffirming it, and I think she was quite touched by the end
I
of
think
it.
she
Very.
just needed closure with that because she loved him. Dear. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, she still loves him. But
Mm-hmm.
he knows that he did not appreciate her then, but to acknowledge that, to be able to come through and understand, where he went wrong and acknowledge it. And that's the beautiful thing that when somebody passes on and they're on the other side, they're not the same, right?
Yeah.
They're able to see right and wrong. They're able to understand how they hurt us and they take accountability. But it is us that are sitting here on earth that do not forgive,
That's
that
right.
carry anger, and we are hurting and we are carrying this heaviness when that soul has transitioned. So forgiveness is a very important thing, all right?
Well, that's a
Because
good segue, actually, Taz, because now I want to talk to you about the offenders that you've worked with and the families that are looking for closure and looking for forgiveness and or
Mhm.
whatever. Now, I kind of want to understand your take on the other side because some people, well, evil people are here and then they go through a process and they get you know cleansed, let's say that they take accountability for their actions here. But do you believe that people are tasked sometimes to come here and be that evil person so that they can
No,
learn a lesson or other people can learn
no,
a lesson? You don't believe that?
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
So nobody is sent by God on this earth to say, okay, you're going to be a murderer, you're going to be a rapist, you're going to live a life being an offender. That's your choice, right?
Okay.
There are certain lessons that, yes, we need to learn, but one of the lessons is not to take a life, right? So every single day we are presented with choices, and it is what we make of that, right? And when I talk about forgiveness, it's important that we forgive people that have hurt us, depending on the situation, right? And you release the situation and you release the person so that you are free, because often we are
Yeah.
carrying a memory, we are carrying an incident, we are carrying the anger, and we become victims of the person or the situation, right?
Right.
But when we talk about offenders, it's a very different take. Now I'm working with murderers and rapists, right? And
How did you get into
I
this
then
work first? Sorry.
so I always wanted to do this as charity. I wanted to help with the reform process so that we could create healing, so that when an offender is released, we are not having reoffending taking place, right?
Right.
So that was always my aim, to help the system, the justice system. And then I met with the minister and he became a client and he was quite happy, and he gave me an MOU to go into any prison. And now it's actually it's a project that's working.
That's great. I
So
love it.
when I talk to a murderer or rapist and I'm doing, like for example, a life has been lost and now I have to do the crossing over, there's also a lot of anger that I'm having to, relay messages and project. And I do help the offender to accept that message, to understand what is coming through so that they can take accountability. So it's different, right? That reading is about accountability. It's about the offender understanding their actions and forgiving themselves and wanting to change and become a better person. But it is not about me telling the soul on the other side, forgive, because that
No,
soul
no,
has
no.
to go
Yeah.
through its own, it has to go through its own journey of healing, right?
Right.
When I look at people like us, for example, that have been hurt and disappointed, whether it's a family member or a friend, we do carry a lot of anger, we carry hurt, we carry disappointment. Sometimes we carry resentment for a long time, but it makes us sick. We
Yes.
are the ones that are carrying this toxic now emotions that is affecting our bodies, right? So that's where I bring in the healing and the coaching on how do we get to that point of releasing that emotion. It's not something you can just get up and say, right, I'm forgiving. Sometimes there's been rape, involved, right? There's been that kind of molestation involved. So you can't just forgive. And that's where I come in, and we are going through a process of healing to finally let go of the heaviness. So yes, my journey is not just a reading and not just an information, output, but it is a process, right? There are some clients that come to me that just needs a reading, quick fix, and they go. And there are some clients that come to me that really needs intense work, and I walk the journey with them.
Okay. Wow. That's incredible. And then the families, you would work with the families as well to help them
Because
process.
families need closure because they finally get the truth. That's
Yeah.
all they want, is to know what happened so that they can finally release that pain that they are carrying. So there's so many healing elements that are coming in when we are looking at that.
It must be very difficult. I mean, you must work with them for quite a while. I mean, it'd be hard to forgive yourself for doing something so horrendous once you awaken to it, like once you take accountability for it, you get past your
100%.
own anger and your own issues.
100%, because some of them are sitting with, like life sentences, and they've been there 18 years, 20 years, 22 years. Now here comes Taz, who's trying to help you, right? But at the end of the day, nobody's forced to come and sit with me, all right?
Yeah.
I do give a talk. They get to experience me, and then they put their names down. But let me tell you, everybody puts their names down. But when a person sits with me, it's because they want to get help.
Right.
They
Yeah.
want to change, right? There's a difference because they know that they are going to talk to somebody whose life they took, right? That is not easy now to sit there and hear the anger that's coming through. They're choosing to sit there because they want to improve, they want to reform. So for me, that's a step in the right direction.
Now, is it always somebody, like, have you worked with people who are on death row, or do you have death row there? Or
We
are
do
you just
not.
in South Africa or other places as well?
And I'm now working only in South Africa, and we do not have the death row.
Okay.
We do have life sentence. I'm working with a gentleman that has 2 life sentences that he's never going to get out, right?
Wow.
But he wants to help his son. That he does not want his son to do what he did. That he's never seen his son ever since he went in. He's never seen his son because he feels ashamed, and he feels like, his son is going to meet him and his son is going to become him, right? So that's where I've been coming in as the mediator.
And his son is in the room now too with him?
The son is not in prison. I'm talking about an offender that I've been working with.
No. But does the son
No. So I've been working with the son outside of prison.
outside and the father inside?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the
That's
son
something.
has been carrying so much of anger, and he just feels like the world has shunned him because of his dad. He feels like he cannot live a normal life because of his dad. So for him, crime was like feeling as an option. So I'm actually very blessed that I was able to come in at that time. And I'm very grateful to our government giving us this opportunity, because now we are avoiding and preventing another criminal, right? So when he was hearing all of this, and he was getting messages from, the grandmom that passed away, and getting all the support, he realized that he is loved, right?
Oh, okay.
Sometimes we are looking for love in the wrong places, right? You need to feel it within. First and
Right.
foremost, you need to feel it within before you look for validation from others. Right? I'm sure you see that in your line of work as well. where people are feeling like, they have these egos, being stars,
all the time,
and there isn't that self-love. They're looking for validation.
I think it's very common, but for me, it's such a difficult thing because I don't know how to really connect with that, because for me, my performance is something that's quite spiritual.
Yes.
So it's difficult but I can understand the allure. I can understand. I also have had a really good home life, and I have a really good relationship, and the people around me that I've chosen are very intentional. So I think if I didn't have that, perhaps I could have been like that, looking for it externally. I mean, you're never going to find it.
Yes.
It's so fleeting. And especially in our industry, you can't put your worth there. But so many of us do, unfortunately.
Yeah. But you're very blessed to have the grounding. The people that you have are your grounding and support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think women have a very hard time with self-love. We're always looking for outside validation. The mirror.
100%.
Especially.
I was gonna say, everybody was like, "Oh my God, I look fat. I don't know this. I need to cut my hair."
I know.
We're so critical of ourselves.
We are so
I was
critical.
saying all of that.
Yes. I don't want to say that.
And my daughter is doing it now too. And she goes, "Well, where do you think I learned that from?" And I go, "But I never told you weren't beautiful. I just looked at me and told myself."
But we absorb
This
that.
is it. We absorb that, and it's really horrible. And it's really hard for women to love themselves, because people are so critical of us and of ourselves first, and then others of us. We're very judgmental. We're always looking, going,
judgmental, but we hurt ourselves. But we also have to be very, I think, kind with our words, because we do not realize that sometimes people are going through their own journey, right? And mental health is a serious issue, right? We don't know what people are going through, and you could say something small that could trigger them.
Yes.
Right. You could say something to you that to you it's insignificant, but to them it is the biggest thing. So we need to be very mindful of the words we use. We need to be very accountable for our actions as well. I'm dealing with now teen suicides, right, cases. So I've got a lot of these kids coming to me, and a lot of the issues are stemming from home, right? They're feeling unloved, they're feeling like they're not good enough, they're feeling like they are not valued, and they go out and then their friends let them down. So it's now one trigger after another. So now it's not just working with the teen. I'm now having to work with the family, to create dialogue and healing. And it all starts with proper dialogue, right? Mm-hmm. Communication is so key to everything.
But I think
what is the situation? Sorry, Mayuri. I just was curious about the situation in South Africa as far as like double working families, mothers working. I mean, back when I was a kid, mom stayed home, dads went to work. You had somebody grounding you at home, right? There was somebody to come in and say, "Hey, how was your day? Here's a snack. Go play." Now, they might have to sit home till 6 or 7 o'clock at night until a parent comes home and starts making dinner. So what is the situation where you are as far as?
I think what you're saying is very important, because I think that's a contributing factor to a lot of our teens feeling very disassociated with their family, feeling very lost and disconnected. I know I grew up in a home where my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So I would come from school and there was always food and there was always someone to talk to. There was always a feeling of love, right, and home. But there are many, many kids now that are not having that luxury. Obviously, because of the financial challenges, now moms and dads both have to work. So we're seeing that now translate into kids feeling very disconnected. However, it is up to the parents when they get home. And I know it's not easy. I know parents listening to me think Taz is crazy. But it's up to us to at least sit down, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sit down and have a conversation with your child.
Yes.
Because you don't even know what's happening in the day. You just come home, you're tired, you want to cook, you're rushing. But while you're cooking, you can sit as a family.
That's right.
And just have a conversation. That half an hour conversation and that connection as a family is so important. Makes a huge difference.
I had both parents working. So my mom and my dad both worked. My mom was an insurance consultant, so she was traveling 9 p.m., 10 p.m. But I never felt disconnected, because I think I only realize now what a huge effort it must have been to have come home from a full day's work. She cooked, she still had to go out at 8 p.m. and she did all that, but she always made me feel seen, heard my dad was part of my projects. He did my art project with me, which got like an A+. I was so I was so impressed.
Mhm.
And so I like they always made that time. So even though there's such a huge gap between my siblings and myself, there's like a 10 and 9 year gap, I never felt alone. I still had my parents and they were still there. So that's really important.
Yes, I think it's very important. But there's a lot of women out there that are single moms.
Yes.
And it is hard. It is hard trying to juggle a home, juggle a job, still see to your kids. And sometimes you have kids that just don't want to listen. I know it is hard. But if parents out there or moms out there are feeling that it's overwhelming and it's too much, it's okay to bring in a family member and get some kind of assistance. You will never know who's willing to help you if you don't ask for help.
Or
Because
friends who are
sometimes we're
family
too
too,
proud.
right? Friends who become family, like they don't have to be
Exactly.
blood relations.
Sometimes we're too proud to ask, right?
Yes.
And I don't know if there's any dads out there listening today. I think they just need to be present. They need to show
Yeah.
up. I'm seeing lots of cases where moms are struggling and dads, after divorce, they feel they're free to live their life. I'm not saying all men, but there are
No.
many men out there. So when you have a child, it takes both parents to be responsible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really grateful for my dad. He was everything, really, the electronics, the iPad, the Facebook, all of that for kids. I would love to see families just put it down for a little bit and talk to your kids. Like I always had a rule, there's no TV at dinner, especially Friday night dinner. We all sat around and we did it together. We talk at dinner time. That's the time to communicate. That's the time to find out what's going on in your life, right?
I 100% agree. And I'm not trying to enforce that. So when we go out for dinner or we are sitting as a family, I do say, let's put our phone number. But I'm often the one that has to pick up the phone.
I know. But it's hard. They're a little addictive, but at the same time, I see a better behavior when they're put away. I'm seeing it in my grandkids right now.
Everybody's present.
Yeah.
Now you're not distracted, you are present. And I also find that when you are distracted, you are just listening for the sake of listening. You're not really absorbing the information that's coming in. And you are, literally adapting to be a person that is only going to respond to whatever's being said. And I would like people to be able to absorb information and then be able to effectively respond. So I think that also is an important thing, is we become so short-tempered, we become so impulsive in our response that we don't realize we're affecting the other person, because the other person feels like they were not respected or heard or not valued, right? But it all stems from just being present in that moment.
I mean, God forbid something happens to your children, but if you don't know who your child's best friends are, where they live, what they're doing, all that, you better talk to your kids. Like, you better know those things, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? You cannot say my kid is unruly or disrespectful. You are raising that child. You as a parent have the right to also discipline. I'm not saying be violent, but you have a right to discipline, in ways that are conducive. But if you just sit back and say, well, my child doesn't listen, you are accepting and condoning that behavior, right?
Yeah.
Your child will be everything that you've allowed them to be, right?
This is true.
So it's a reflection of who you are. And I always say that to I've got 2 daughters, and I always say to them, I don't care what you say or do at home, but when you walk out this door, you are representing me.
Yes, exactly.
You are representing me. So you better be, mindful of that. Yeah.
Let's talk about the spirit world again. Is there anything about the spirit world that people get completely wrong when they talk to you?
I think one of the misconceptions is that it's God and ancestors' job and duty to fix everything. Right? They get angry that, I'm praying and God is not doing this, and I'm praying to my ancestors and they're not doing that. So they start losing faith, right? And I believe that when you have unwavering faith, in fact, we spoke about it on another occasion as well. When you have unwavering faith in whatever it is that you are praying for, and you set the intention, God, universe, your ancestors will align to help you, to guide you. It is not their job to take over, to fix, and just to present everything on a platter for you. It is their job to guide you and assist you to get to where you want to be, but you have to do the work. All right. And I think that's where people are getting it wrong, and they are getting so angry and they're losing faith.
Okay. Now, some people would ask about angels. Are angels your guides? Does everybody have a guide?
Yes.
And does everybody have an ancestor guide? Like, who is my guide? Like, people are always going to ask that.
Yes. So we all believe in our different gods, right? And that's
Right.
that's your personal and private connection. And that's something that you will carry with you. But we all have angels around us. All right. We all have our ancestors, whether you believe in ancestors or not. When a person passes on and they move on to the other side, they do become a guide as well to us. So whether you acknowledge them or not, they will still be there. So it does not matter what it is you believe in. As I said, some people don't even believe in God. They may believe in the sun. For example, it
Right.
does not matter as long as you have some kind of belief that will allow you to ground, to be able to understand right from wrong. That is the key, right? And most importantly, understand that it is not anybody else's job to fix your life. You pray for guidance. You pray for that gift of discernment and intuition that you'll be able to see right from wrong. But it is your job to take those steps forward, and they will actually work with you to allow things to just maybe buffer and assist so things can move a little lighter. But I think a lot of the misconception is, I'm so angry at God, or I'm so angry at my dad or my mom or this and that they didn't do this. But that's not their job.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me play devil's advocate. What do you say to people who think mediums are just really good at reading people?
Well, I can't talk for other mediums, but for example, the lady that came on today, I don't know her at all. And she just sat there and she got a very clean reading, right? And she was very happy and validated the reading. I have a radio show on one of our largest radio stations in South Africa. And I have people that are calling in that are anonymous, right? So I don't have a name, and I'm doing their reading and they validating. So I cannot speak about other mediums. I can speak for myself.
Sure.
And I am very proud of myself and the way I conduct myself in my readings. I will only give you messages that I know are of value and messages that are going to enhance and empower you. If there's extreme negativity and I'm on a platform like this, I would never disclose that, because I still have respect for the person in front of me, because there are certain things that are private. Right. But for me, I work with energy. I feel that is like your fingerprint, your print is unique to you. So I personally, I'm not saying other people should not use it or believe in it. Personally, I don't use cards. Personally, I don't use any form or modality, because I find it easier to just work with energy.
Did you have anything you want to say, Mayuri? You look like you want to say something.
No, I mean, I think it's very true about Taz, because when I first met her, it was actually for a TV.
recording.
It was a recording of an interview. I was like, of a reading, and I was like, oh no, I really hope she's not going to say something that's going to bum me out or something super negative. She didn't know me at all, because we had very little interaction, no interaction before.
No,
that.
zero interaction.
Zero interaction. And I think even the recording was like the day before I was told. So I got here and I was like, okay, I'm not sure. And she started speaking, and immediately I just felt that shift. And she mentions things that it doesn't matter how deep dive you go on the internet about me, you will not know those things. I'm very private about my personal life, so you would not find any of that. She knew about my partner, she knew about my grandmother who crossed over, who said I was favorite. I still remember that. I hope nobody from my family is watching, but it's the truth, sorry. And so she said all of that, and I was just like, how did she could never have gleaned that from anywhere. It's quite incredible to me when I witness her reading now, because I'm like, she's just putting from this incredible space
from
that
nothing.
we're not aware of, but is there. That's what I find amazing.
But I must say this as well. I don't do my readings for validation from anybody. The person that comes to me, they came for a reason. They needed some information, and I offer that, and off they go. I'm happy, they are happy, and that's where it ends. I am not about proving myself to anybody.
No.
I love what I do, and my job, I call it a job and a gift, is to serve people. Right? It is to serve people and to aid and help people. I don't see it as something that I need to walk around feeling, oh, I've got this and feel like there's a status and I'm elevated. Not at all. For me, it is about respect. And, it's a gift that can go away. If you don't respect people and if you don't honor people, God can take that gift away. Maybe my grandmother can say, right, you are not using it correctly.
Grandma's whipping you. Okay,
So
I have
for
to
me,
ask you. I have to ask you this question because I just feel something, so I have to ask it. Do you see anybody around me right now?
absolutely yes. So I must say to you, Frankie, that you have lived your life also like the previous lady. You have lived your life about people, right? It's been family, it's been friends, and you have given so much of yourself, and you have also gone through a lot of abuse, right? Where people have taken advantage of that generosity, and you have come to a point in your life where you are exhausted, right? You've come to a point where you decided that this is what I want to focus on and this is how I want to do it. And you have set some boundaries around how you present yourself to the world because people have made you tougher. You didn't start off being this tough lady. You were too kind and too generous. So people have made you the tough woman that you are. And when I look at your energy, the first person that comes through is your grandmother. All right. She comes through firstly apologizing because she was a tough lady. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Your grandmother from your paternal side, from your dad's side of the family. And she comes in to apologize to your mom. She apologizes to the children because she says that I feel like we did not give you children or your mom the respect that she deserved. Right. And when I look at the energy around your dad, he does come through. Your dad was a very stern man, right? Loving and kind in many ways, but he was
Yeah.
also very stern in the sense that he was respected. You know,
Yes.
your father lived his life on the straight path. You know, it's either they people liked him or they didn't like him. He didn't waver, he didn't change. And he says, you take that after him. He smiles, he says, it took you years to get there, but you're finally there because you did try to adapt to people earlier on in your life and you realize that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Frankie, you put a very tough exterior out, but you are very sensitive within, and people's words hurt you more than their actions, right? You are able to forgive actions, but words linger with you, right? So that has also been, I think, the change that needed to come in where you are starting to say, this is how I'm going to evolve and present myself.
Right.
So even though you come across very tough and stern, there's a reason for it, right? But your dad gives you, he thinks you're still five. He gives you a kiss on your head and he says to you, I love you. All right. And he says, you always looked up to me like I was the best thing ever. And he says, you made me feel the most special and important. He says, I really appreciate that. You know, your father was a person that stood for the family. He did a lot for the family, but he says that's not your journey. All right,
Mm-hmm.
because you have done that and you have felt obligated for a long time, and there was a little bit of abuse of power as well from others. So your father says that you don't have to follow his journey. I have another female that comes through, and she comes in as a mother energy to you. All right, she comes in very kind and very warm. She also had a lot of difficulties because I'm seeing health complications around her, but she shows me that she was ready for death before her time. She said she accepted death before her time because she did not want to be a burden. She was too proud a lady to actually become a burden. She says, I lost my strength, I lost my dignity. What she is blessing you with is good health because you worry about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you always want to be strong and independent right till the end. And she says, I bless you with that. She says,
Oh,
your
that's
good
nice.
work is not going unnoticed. And she says, it is always going to create abundance around you. Your worry before used to be finances, to have enough, to be able to take care of everything. But the journey you're on right now is going to give you that buffer and is going to give you that financial comfort that you're looking for. I think for you, the most important thing is never relying on anybody from a health perspective and financial perspective. And
That's
those are the
true.
two things that you are blessed with, right?
Thank
And I see that you have a sacred space in your home where you actually unwind and where you connect, and that's where they connect with you.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
That's a bit-
All right, ladies. Well, Facebook, we are going to wave goodbye to you. Thank you so much for tuning into us. And I'm just going to stop that. And I'm going to stop our recording too.